Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel, and I'm doing a reaction video this time. This is to Ready to Love Season 4 DC, Kamil and Cornelius. They did an interview live day before yesterday, and I wanted to unpack this with you guys and give my thoughts. But before we do this, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications to be reminded every time we post. If you like the video, smash the like button, and also feel free to drop a comment down in the comment section below. Now, I know we have many different thoughts about this couple, but we are going to unpack and talk about it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this video. So, Cornelius and Kamil did a interview with Joshua Dillard on his show, and he has a YouTube channel, so go over there and check him out and shout out to him. However, we're going to cover just the highlights. The actual interview lasted about an hour and maybe like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. And I don't want to take from the entire show because they cover a lot of things. So I wanted to, first of all, give him some support and a shout out to his channel. And at the same time, we kind of unpack some of the things that I found was a highlight to the interview that they had spoke upon, which everybody is definitely talking about right now. And they kind of give some clarity to these things, which I'm all about objectivity and clarity. I've heard the other cast members, but I also wanted to hear from them as well. And maybe some of you do as well. So one thing about me, I try to be open-minded and try to see what everybody has to say, okay? And what I'm going to do after each or one or two clips have been played, I'll come back in and give my thoughts. So enough of me. Without further ado, let's jump into this video.
Because you guys didn't know each other Ready to Love, did you?
No, we didn't know each other previously.
Even though that's the rumor that's out there.
That's the rumor that's out there.
No, we didn't.
Okay. Yeah, I believe she was on season 4, Houston.
Yeah, last season.
And they had a couple of events where they met before the show, where you kind of meet the cast and things of that nature. And so she informed me that everybody met and she had her eyes on the person that, you know what I'm saying, she was interested in, or a couple of people that she was interested in. Now, was it the same with you guys? I'm wondering, did you guys meet like on the show, or did you meet behind the scenes, not before the show, like you guys are already in the process, of course. Right. Did you guys meet at some type of event where they introduce everyone to everyone and you like, that's the one?
So they pretty much try to keep us in suspense. They actually don't even want us seeing the other guys. Like they don't want other guys being in a group together and sizing each other up. So they want everybody to walk into the building. They actually rented out a mansion. They want everybody to walk into the mansion and actually see everybody organically and see everybody coming in one at a time. So when I walk in, there's probably like 3 or 4 people already there. And by the time the night ends, everybody makes their interest like one at a time.
20 people.
Yeah, it ended up being overall 20 people, 10 men, 10 women. So we actually all organically see each other at the same time. So when she walked through the door, as soon as she walked through the door, I was like, oh, thank God. Because I was like, you don't know if you're walking this thing, you don't know if you're going to like somebody or not, you know.
Right.
So coming into it, it's like, okay, let me see what they working with. So you have that anxiety. You come in, you're like, okay, all right, she cool. All right, I don't know if I won't like her. I kind of seen her around in the city a little bit, so I don't know I'm not going there. And then I see her. I've never seen her before. It's like, oh, that beautiful chocolate girl. That's it right there. You know. So.
I see how you slid that one in there, Cornelius. Okay, what about you, Kamil? What's your reaction when Cornelius walks through the room?
So he was already in the room. He was already there. I walk in, and if I could be honest with you, first of all, I saw him. I thought he was like in his early 30s, so it was already gonna be like, oh, that's a wrap for me.
Right.
I talked to everybody in there just to see who it is that I was going to make sure that I had more conversation with. After doing that, honestly, I was only attracted to Cornelius. And that's me talking about faith. That's me talking about finances. That's me flushing out those tough questions on the first night.
Makes sense.
So much so that I told producers, like, I want to go home.
Hold up, you told the producers that?
They wouldn't let me. Like
Ah,
this whole embarrassment could have been saved if I would have went home. But then I wouldn't have had this. So
right, right.
there's a reason for everything. But definitely and actually that made a great storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Is my attraction to him and nobody else.
Right. That did make a very, very entertaining storyline.
Okay, so let's stop it right here and talk about this first segment. So, one of the things that was floating around out on social media was the fact that they were actually a couple before coming on to the show, and then they just slid that in and was able to do that. And they just dispelled that rumor. They never met prior to the show. The first time that they ever met was meeting and greeting in the process of that whole mixer. And the interesting thing that I found out listening to this interview is the reaction to each other. One of the things is that, they had a particular procession of, meaning production of how everybody they want to come in. They only wanted the guys coming in one at a time or didn't get a chance to see them. So they couldn't size them up, which I thought that was pretty interesting. But being that he was already in there, he eventually, of course, looked around the room. He saw that there was some people he saw around, women around DC. He wasn't interested. There's other people that maybe didn't connect with him or he connected with them. Wasn't interested until Kamil came in. Now, her response was pretty interesting as well because she said she got to speak with everyone. And when it came to Cornelius, they really connected very well on faith, finances, and she wanted to really flush out those tough questions, which obviously it checked her, her boxes. So she was pretty much done. She had told them she wanted to go home. That's it. That's all. But of course she had to, if she was going to continue to be with him and, try to see where that relationship was going to go, she had to stay on the show. But, like she said, it obviously did make a storyline. Now, it might have been behind the scenes a great storyline for them. But of course, we didn't get to see that. It was a storyline, but it definitely didn't speak to what their particular experience was with each other behind the scenes. And pretty much she wanted him and no one else. So I find that to be very interesting, and that definitely dispel a lot of those original rumors. But there's more to come. Let's continue.
Been a good story to tell because you show, okay, yeah, your couples get to do this. It's not that bad. It's not like Love and Hip Hop or something like that. I can do this. This is cool. Yeah. But
so at some point during the show, Kamil, I heard you refer to him as your boyfriend. So did you guys make it official behind the scenes?
First of all, when I did that was on the first episode that you saw that, right? Mm-hmm. I had actually taped that interview episode 8, 9. And that was when we actually had chose each other. It was definitely a joke, but I didn't say it on the first day. Who does that? And if I did do it, we have to understand as women, we'll meet a guy and be like, oh, that's my boyfriend. We'll be playing and joking. And that's what it was. But it was all the way weeks, months later when I taped that. Yeah, and they put it at the first episode, of course, to make me look crazy. Yeah. But if that's a manifestation, I don't know what is because, baby, hello.
Shoot, if you looking crazy right now, then I want to be crazy too.
Hello. I called it. That's my
boyfriend. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about this because that was having her look real crazy because when we saw in the first episode, she was calling him her boyfriend already. However, the clarity that we have seen, which I do know that, production teams does take clips from one particular thing and add it to another particular thing. And it could have been something weeks and months later, like she said. So even though she was saying that the fans saw that whole boyfriend, declaration on episode 1, that actually was a taping that was done by episode 8 and 9. And they took the clip and put it at the beginning of the season. So, of course, making her looking like this crazy girl. Because she was like, Who actually does that? That actually say on their first day meeting somebody that's your boyfriend. It makes you look possessive and obsessive. Now, she did say if that's her way of manifesting her man and if that's how they wanted to make her look, so be it, fine, because obviously she got the man out of this. But it just speaks to how, even though they're creating drama to kind of sway the minds of the fans, it's kind of mentally manipulating, because you seeing her as this crazy possessive girl who's claiming this guy on day one, when actually this is her confessional that she did weeks and months later. So, that's why I try to be objective in my reviews, because you just don't know. But I'm glad we got some clarity on that matter. So let's keep moving.
So the reunion part 2 is tomorrow. Is there anything that you guys would like to communicate before the reunion releases?
So our controversy right now is the "I'll F you up" gate. That's the controversy.
That's a gate?
Yeah.
Call the gate, yes.
Okay.
Again, dealing with that situation, there was a did I say it or did I not say it? I've owned up, I said it. The way that it was put in context, we were thrown off. Definitely thrown off. Kamil said, if you put Cornelius at the bottom, I'll F you up.
Mm-hmm.
I said I didn't. Kamil did not say, if you put Cornelius at the bottom, I'll F you up. I saw producers holding up their cell phones that basically alluded to Cornelius and I being voted off the show. And they were telling that to a cast member, say that to the table. My "I'll F you up" was to production. Like, I see you. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. And so when she brought it up to say that I said it to the table, I was like, wait, what you talking about?
That's
and I literally said it under, production mics. Those small ones pick up everything.
Right.
So if I'm saying that under my breath,
the
person next to me didn't hear me.
Right.
The person across from me didn't hear me. No one heard me, but she decided, production said, hey, Kamil said she's going to F somebody up. Bring it up. So I was like,
wild.
I didn't say that to nobody at this table. So
it makes like she's threatening the table, and that's not the case.
And again, if somebody said they're going to F you up, what you going to do?
Oh, no, I'm going to get you before you get me.
Hello.
That part.
Hello.
That part.
Literally, if I said it to the table, everybody was sitting there having their own conversations.
Yeah. And you got to think about this. Is the thing, when we came into the reunion show, we've taped this. So we taped the actual show. We took a month off between September and October, doing like pickup lines and things like that, like going back in for different auditions, like, as far as your editing, what you call the interview conversationals that we do. That when they kind of like cut from scenes and they go to the person talking in a chair, we do those scenes in like between September and October. We actually take the reunion in November 7th. This is like 2-3 months after we did our initial taping. So that scene was based in August. So when we get to the reunion, though, we're like, as far as the show came on October 15th. So they're showing the show. So we're somewhat halfway through the season when October 7th came around. So, but they're not sending us any updated clips or how the season's going to end.
They sent us the first ones.
They sent us they sent us the first ones, the ones that we already saw on TV to catch us up. But then they said, hey, we're going to send you the rest of the season so you can know what to talk about when you get to the reunion. Because what's the point of having a reunion? You don't know how this show is even going to be finished out. But because of production, because of drama, because they want to get you surprised in the moment of it.
They surprised me.
The thing is, in the moment of it, when we was at that table, that was being effed up was never a topic of conversation.
Nobody was going to get effed up except production. What y'all doing?
Right. And so the thing is, the thing that we was mostly discussing was that hater part. It was like, you sound real haterish to me.
You sound haterish because you want to vote them off and they found love.
Yeah, that's what was.
There was about to be a fight for that.
Right, that was about to be a fight for that. Now that part, everybody know about it. Everybody's seen that. Everybody was in that moment of it, so everybody can they can remember that. But when we got down to the reunion, they went into post-production. They pulled that piece out about the F you up part. All they have to do is get one castmate to say, you make threats like that, you can't do this, you can't do that. But we're not seeing this. We don't know this until we get into the reunion. And we're sitting there on the couches and they show us on the screens.
I didn't say that.
We was like, wait a minute.
I didn't say that. My mouth ain't even moving. That's a voiceover. Listen, because I know I did not say it to the group. So I was like, no, I didn't say
Yeah.
Right.
So they definitely used that moment because they know we didn't see that. They know that wasn't a big thing in the moment. But all you gotta do is go in post, get somebody to co-sign it, and you get down there and it's like, okay, wait a minute, that happened.
And that's
so you get confused, like, wait a minute, that didn't happen like that.
That's
and so
right.
the unfortunate thing about it, because it's like, okay, you have cast members again continuing this narrative. You know I didn't say that to you. You know that.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I did, we would have been fighting.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not a fighter though. Let me stop playing. I'm not a
I
fighter.
was about to say,
I'm
Cap,
not a fighter.
it's gonna take off my
I ain't
cap.
no killer, but don't push
Cap.
I'm not gonna fight because they voting them off. Like, no, but my anger was like, y'all playing.
Yeah, you see the production around it.
Y'all-
I mean, they have people hold phones up and they will gaslight a little bit to kind of get the narrative going, in the
And
scenes.
additionally, at the end of the day, we can't act. A lot of the cast are acting like we are the ones that vote people off. Production decides who's getting voted off the show.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Who puts people in the bottoms? Who puts people in the top? Because every week somebody goes home, right?
Right.
And so it's a consensus amongst the men what lady goes home. That's what audience.
That's what the audience
thinks, right?
Right.
So we may say 3 names, but
Only one get pulled.
only one goes home. But the thing is, the one that may get mentioned the most may not be the one to go home,
Right.
honestly.
Because they're still creating a show.
Yeah, it's still creating.
So
Right.
I probably was at the bottom a couple times because I was connected to Cornelius.
Right.
But I
Yeah,
wasn't
for
going
sure.
home because guess what?
Yeah.
Camille got the faces.
The big personality is, we're not sending her
We
home.
gonna keep her as long as we can till we
Yeah.
can't anymore.
Right.
Our story
Yeah.
became boring. So
Yeah.
I honestly feel like
Well, I'm glad you guys got a chance to come on.
Okay, so we finally got down to the whole bottom of the I'ma F you up gate. Because remember what we saw at the reunion part 1, that when they played that clip, we saw what it looks like where Camille was saying, I'ma F you up. Now, everybody was like, okay, what we're seeing and what you're saying is not matching. So, on this particular interview, they break it down, which I'm glad that they did, because from the way it sounds, first of all, it was a shock factor because this scene was filmed back in August, or July or August. However, the actual reunion filming was done in October, and they didn't know what was going to come up. And of course, when they showed that clip, shock factor happens, and now they got to explain that, plus what we're hearing when we saw the episode and what they're reflecting back to the cast. Now, the interesting thing about this I'ma F you up gate is what she said that she admitted to. And she said, yes, I've said it. I've already owned up to it, which is good to hear. The explanation behind the I'ma F you up gate was, as she stated, not projected to anyone at that table, because that whole conversation had to do with haterish and being voted off and all of that. But I guess there was something where she claimed that she heard production actually saying some things, and she overheard them, and pretty much, I see you and I'm about to call you out for what you're doing. Well, that's why sometimes it's not good to give them ammunition, because one thing about production teams, they are really crafty, and they could take something that you said and use it against you. Now, granted, it's not in the context of effing somebody up at that table, because like she said, if she had actually said that to somebody, probably a fight would have broke out. But it didn't, because they were on a whole nother subject. But she said that statement was actually directed to the people that was from production, that had these camera phones filming around the table and then starting and instigating, because when they heard her say that to production, now production is telling another cast member, she said she was going to F somebody up. And now you got to talk about it. And now it's getting everything started. So it's a crazy thing. And the problem with production is because of the hefty job that they do to make the entertainment, and media is so it can be very, very impacted. And what I mean, it can really impact people, because people, they tend to go by what they hear and what they see. And usually it's like, you telling me not to believe what I heard and what I see. That's the purpose of production. Everything from splicing to frankenbiting to, moving one scene, something was said to another scene that has nothing to do with the context. And that was all discussed, even about the whole boyfriend comment. They placed it in episode 1 to make her look like crazy and possessive, and she claiming this dude already, when this is something that was filmed in episode 8 or 9. So, people are going to believe what they want to believe. Because I've seen people trying to, put it out there about this interview with other folks. And folks were like, no, they lying. They just trying to cover their butt. And that's the problem with TV. That sometimes by the time you get to speak your truths, TV has already pretty much manipulated the mind. And the only reason people are like, well, how come you not falling for it? Well, I'm going to give you a quick explanation. My daughter was actually up for a show on TLC. I cannot name the show, but it was a reality TV show. And once I read what takes place behind those things, I told her, if you want our relationship to stay intact, do not do that show. And thank God she didn't do it, but there are several people, even from this show and even from other shows, that have to mentally recover and go through therapy after dealing with stuff like this. Now, granted, some people might come out on top. There's many stars from other shows that has now huge 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 followers. But for the vast majority of the other cast members is usually villainhood or being taunted because fans didn't like something somebody said or did, or they're projecting the pain that they went through from what they saw on this TV show. So people are going to believe what they want to, and like I said in the beginning, everybody's going to have their opinions on this couple, but we all got to get to talk about it. My opinion of watching the entire interview, all 1 hour and 10 minutes of it, I will say they kept it above board. There wasn't a bunch of finger pointing at other cast members. They just pretty much stuck to what was being said about them, whether people believe their explanation or not. But the thing is, at the end of the day, they chose each other. Whether they chose each other on the show, after the show, or in 2022, those two are actually together. And they cover a lot of other things. They cover, stuff about, the actual editing, the different things that they did with other scenes that was cut out. They also talk about sex before marriage on the interview. The thought of engagement, that conversation came up. And their overall experience, the casting. They talked about a lot of things. They even talked about their background, her college background, what she's planning to do, what she currently do when it comes to kids, what he does in regards to being an electrical engineer, working on military, transportation. I mean, they got a lot going for themselves, so, at the end of the day, the question was, were they ready to love? Obviously, it must be the case because they're definitely loving on each other. And they also addressed the whole thing about him being a beta male and what was his response with the whole country bumpkin conversation and how he handled it, which we didn't see. They talked about that. And a lot of people are like, well, why are you even put it on this video? Because that content creator, I don't want to take all of his content and bring it over here. YouTube wouldn't let me do that anyway. But I just wanted to highlight the more popular things and obviously give us a space to talk about these two, So I'm looking forward to the reunion part 2. I'm also looking forward to seeing what happens from this point forward with Kamil and Cornelius and where they go from here. It's nice to see a melanin couple that is out there doing their thing, and they both got a lot of stuff going for them, and it seemed like together they're planning a pretty good future. So again, I'm objective. I try not to be judgmental because I know what these shows are about. Even with Aisha and Dante, I'm wishing well for them as well. Also for Phil and Sydney, I'm also wishing well for them as well too. So no ill will intended over here. But I also wanted, they really haven't gotten the opportunity to have a lot of interviews, and I wanted to make sure that as much as I talk about the other cast members or show their lives on my channel and things like that, being that they put this out here, I also wanted to share this with you guys so everybody can hear everybody's story. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be kind, show some grace in the comment section. Drop your comments though. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.